In this lesson, we are going to talk about how to create a simple budget based off your income and expenses. Let us review a few vocabulary words before beginning our lesson. The first word we will discuss is budget. A budget is an estimate of your income and expenses for a specific period of time. This helps you keep track of how much money you are spending, and it promotes responsibility. The next vocabulary word is income. Income is the amount of money that is received on a regular basis. You can receive income from your parents, employer, etc. The next vocabulary word is required expenses. Required expenses are things that must be paid by a specific date. These expenses are often called bills, taxes, loan payments, etc. The last vocabulary term is discretionary expenses. Discretionary expenses are expenses that are considered after all required expenses are paid. These are optional things like clothes, fast food, and gifts. The first step to creating a budget is estimating your income for the given time period that you will be creating a budget for. Here is one example of a weekly budget that I have created. This example lists the type of income and the amount of money that I will receive. The next step to creating a budget is estimating the required expenses that you must subtract from your total income for a specific time period. An example of required expenses are bills, taxes, and gas money. It is important to think about costs that you may have in the future, like saving for a car or even college. Step 3 is estimating the discretionary expenses for a given time period. These expenses are optional and must be considered after all required expenses are paid. Examples of discretionary expenses include shopping, video games, and gifts. Here is an example of a weekly budget that I have created for myself. The first thing that I did was identify my sources of income for that week. These income sources included salary from job, allowance from parents, and babysitting. My total income for the week will be about $250. The next thing that I did was estimate my required expenses for the week. These required expenses included gas money, groceries, electricity bill, and a deposit to my savings account. The total amount of required expenses totaled to $135. Next, I estimated the different discretionary expenses that I will have for the week. These expenses included clothes, fast food, and a ticket to the basketball game. These expenses totaled to $45. Lastly, I will perform the calculations that I have listed at the bottom of this slide. I will subtract the total required discretionary expenses from my total income to get the remaining balance of my income. This remaining balance can remain in my checking account once the income is received, or it would be beneficial to place some, if not all, of the remainder into my savings.